What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. This isn't horror, but it is a psycho sci-fi thriller that I think might be interesting to a few of you. It's a spoiler-free review of a movie called Ultrasound. Let's check it out. So I first heard of Ultrasound by kind of skipping around looking at new movies that have been released. This apparently just released yesterday, Saturday or maybe Friday late night. I wanted to share it with you guys because that's what I like to do on this podcast, is try to find movies that maybe you'll like and introduce you to them. Now, like I said, this is not a horror movie, but it is a sci-fi psychological thriller that has a really good vibe to it. For me, a lot of like independent thriller movies are really good at kind of keeping you in this mystery and kind of, I don't know, just keeping your mind guessing the whole time. Now, some people are not fans of this, and I'll totally understand. But if you like to get into stuff that deals with the mind, then stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you all about what I think about it without spoiling hardly any of it. Because yes, you guessed it, this is definitely a movie that the less you know, the better this experience is going to be for you. Don't read any other reviews. Don't listen to any other reviews, because Uncle Alex is going to give you the lowdown and why I like this movie without telling you a single fucking thing about it. So let's try this. So Ultrasound, okay, now it's labeled on IMDb as sci-fi. Straight up sci-fi. I watched the trailer. I knew instantly that this is going to be some sort of psychological thriller, just the way things went on in the movie. Now, this is a movie that is directed by Rob Schroeder, who is actually a producer, and he's done a lot of different movies, including movies like Sunchoke, a lot of independent productions that he's worked on. Just by watching the trailer alone, I was interested, and I think you're safe to watch the trailer if you want to watch the trailer to kind of get in the mood and see if it's something that you like. The world is changing. You're questioning yourself as to why these strange things are happening. This isn't a gory film. This isn't a scary film. Although I guess there are moments in the film that are kind of tense and scary in some ways, like having amnesia and waking up and trying to figure out what is going on. Some people are comparing this to Memento, because when you write these kind of stories, you're sort of writing them in reverse, because you know what is going on, but you're not allowing the viewer to know. So you sort of backstep and kind of write the story backwards so that you can kind of explain it in a way that isn't as revealing. To give you kind of a background on this movie, this is actually a movie that premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival this last year, and it is based off a novel or comic book, essentially, titled Generous Bosom. Yeah, not going to give you any clues there either. In fact, I think the movie Ultrasound is probably a little bit more revealing than what I've told you so far. So what is this story Ultrasound all about? In the beginning of the movie, Glen is driving down a road, and when his car breaks down, he is forced to go to a neighboring house. And at this house, he meets a couple who he spends a very weird kind of night with, setting in motion a chain of events that will change their lives forever, as well as numerous other strangers that they meet along the way. Now, I will fill you in on one tiny little secret. Now, when I say odd, yeah, it's a little odd for anybody to be in a situation where a married couple influence you into being into a certain situation. You'll figure it out as soon as you start watching the movie, because there will be flashes of imagery on the screen that will kind of make sense for you. But let's just say it's an odd night for Glen. As this movie progresses, he starts to get embroiled in this weird relation with this couple, and it starts kind of branching out into other people, and suddenly he is in a situation where he's kind of telling people about what's going on. You're kind of moving in and out of this dream state that is happening, all to this great score and soundtrack that was developed by Zach Engel, who's worked on other movies, smaller indie and some are bigger, but it's really good. And I think the music and the sound effects and everything that are in this movie really kind of play with the viewer viewer to get you into this mode where you're kind of just on this adventure in this dreamlike world. There are different types of camera angles and things that they use that I really enjoyed and kind of give you this sort of uncomfortable feeling while you're watching that they do subtly. And everything that they do in the movie is going to leave you in the dark, and there's going to be people saying things that you don't fully understand really. And that's of course done intentionally so that you can kind of follow the story along as it unfolds backwards into your imagination. Now, some people may be thinking, oh, well, where is this going to go? Like, is it going to go to this certain place? Well, it may be better or worse for some people, but personally for me, I thought this was a fantastic film. For an independent film to make me feel this tension in my chest the entire time I was watching it, and to wrap me up into the characters that are going through this odd sort of occurrence each time. It just feels like a very dreamy movie, and it feels like I was having a bad trip almost at certain times. I'm just gonna say, like, if you kind of like that experience where you are just floating in the ether of this movie's imagination and just kind of going for a ride that isn't necessarily the biggest story I've ever heard, but is really well crafted to kind of keep you in this state, and you soon find out why it's happening. And I thought it was still pretty cool by the time I find out. This movie has a couple of twists in it that I thought were pretty effective as well, that play with your mind and play with the characters in a way that is very acceptable in my opinion and well exceeds what most independent films set out to do. The fact that this music and the way the camera work is done and how they're doing all these different scenes in and out of order really made me enjoy the movie a lot. So yeah, I haven't told you anything about the movie other than the beginning of the movie, and hopefully I'm conveying to you how much I really enjoyed this film. I would definitely give this film an 8 out of 10. I thought the acting was very subtle, very nuanced. It's really that state of suspension and the people that are kind of acting oddly throughout the whole movie that will make you sort of piece this all together. A lot of people are saying it's like a puzzle or it's unfulfilling. I've read a few reviews that are 100% spoilerific, so I just would not do it. They're not hating the movie, they're just saying it's not that special. But for me, it was. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed feeling this way, and I like when a movie can make me feel this way, where you're really just wondering what the hell is going on. And some movies can do that, and it really pisses off people. Especially nowadays, I've noticed that a lot of films, when they don't explain everything up front and just detail it for everyone so that they can decide for themselves if they like the story, they feel like they've been ripped off somehow and, tricked into watching a movie that they're really not interested in. And I can understand that to a degree, but I like that mystery and I like that floatiness. I like that feeling in my chest that is uneasy and makes me wonder where I'm headed. It's like going on a fucking LSD trip, man. You don't know where that's gonna go, and the more you try to control it, the more you're fucking losing your mind. So just go with it, bro. No, I won't tell you how I know that, but just trust me on it. Anyway, I think that you should check it out. If you like sci-fi, psychological thrillers, this would be on my list if it was a horror movie for the end of the year, honestly. It is an independent film. It is a small film. The acting is pretty well done, but it's unique and different, and it works with what they're trying to do here. And I'd say congrats to everybody involved in working on this. There's a couple of people that are in the movie that you might recognize, but just watch the film, and hopefully together we can find movies that we both like. All right, I've gone on enough, but trust me, I really enjoyed the movie. I think you should check it out. I like movies that mess with my head and put me into a state of unease, and suspense. By the way, if you want to check this out, it's on VOD now. You can rent it for $5.99 on any of your digital sites. Check it out if you like. Did you watch the trailer? Did you watch the movie? Did you enjoy the movie? Did you watch the movie based on my recommendation and are coming here now to get answers, or maybe, see what other people thought of this weird movie that just is like an earbug? Literally an earbug. There's tricks in the movie that they do with your ears. I almost feel like I should have watched this movie with a headset. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, long live the void.